Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you live to episode number 18 of the Primetime Rundown Zoom interview series right here on the Eastern Observer and the Blackjack Media Networks. I'm Joey Jarzynka. We welcome you live to another fantastic episode, actually a primetime edition, no pun intended. We are blessed to have Visalia Rawhide, Director of Media Relations and Broadcasting, and the first ever female broadcaster, play-by-play broadcaster, Jill Gearin with us. Jill, welcome to the Primetime Rundown Zoom interview series. I'm really happy that you're joining us here on a little Thursday evening, 10:02 here on the East, 7:02 where you are out in California.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is great. Prime time. It's like we're calling a baseball game right now, for me at least, at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly right. We don't have, obviously, we got, no sports and everything. And, we have to be able to make the best of everything that's going on. So let's get right into it. If everyone's ready, we do apologize for the technical difficulties early on. We got on the air about a minute and a half or 2 minutes past the top of the hour. So we do apologize for that, but we are up and running here on YouTube and the Eastern Observer. So please, if you did leave us, please join in again. We are back and we're good to go. Jill is ready. I'm ready. Let's get things rolling. So first off, Jill, how are you and your family throughout all of this? Because you are out in California. We were just saying off air, off camera before. It's slowly, I think you guys are starting to open up faster than we are out here in New York.
Yeah, starting to a little bit. I am not sure the exact phase we're in yet. I think it's like a 2.5 phase for California. So restaurants are slowly starting to open at 50%, still have to wear a mask and everything. But no, I'm doing well. I actually escaped Visalia and came down to Hermosa Beach, California, which is about 20 minutes south of LA. Weird sleeping in, my childhood bedroom right now. It's a weird dynamic being almost 24 and living with your parents again, even though you still have a full-time job. So definitely a different setup, but we're healthy. My parents are doing well. My dad still has a full-time job. I'm beyond blessed to still be working full-time, being able to work remotely. Major shout out to the Rawhide for that and the Siegel family. So definitely doing very well.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it because, obviously with everything going on, we do have some folks that aren't as blessed and as lucky. So, we have to take everything with a grain of salt for sure. So let's get things rolling. Let's keep it moving. So for those that do not know, and for the Visalia Rawhide faithful that are watching, your play-by-play female broadcaster, just to let everyone know, the first ever female broadcaster in the 80-year California League history, and also number 6 in minor league baseball right now. And when I say number 6, I mean there are a total of 6 female play-by-play broadcasters, and we are interviewing 1 out of 6 right here, right now. It is truly an honor, not only for you to be here, but let me ask you this, Jill. Having those numbers thrown at you constantly from not only myself, but you hear it all around baseball. You hear it, I'm sure, in Visalia. You hear it everywhere. How good does that feel for you?
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't like how few numbers there are. I'm honored to be one of them. Part of me is thinking, come on, it's 2020. And when I was hired, I was the 3rd hired to be the voice of a team. And that's just ridiculous in my opinion. But it's awesome that people recognize it. And as much as I don't like exactly being one of those numbers and being considered a trailblazer and all those words that they kind of throw around, I'm happy that people are, like yourself, are interviewing me so that way young girls can say, oh, I can do that. Because it really is all about representation and seeing someone who looks like you doing the job that you may or may not want to do. It's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, for those that do not know, also both Jill and myself are a part of the STAA, Sportscasting Talent Agency of America. So for those that are watching and are females, clearly, again, look at what Jill has done. We've seen others. We've seen, I believe it was the 2018 Jim Nantz Award winner, Katie Emmer, who works at NBC Sports Philadelphia. So, for those, we'll actually ask Jill her advice later on in the program to see what her advice is for other females in the industry that could be getting down right now. But again, as we were saying earlier, for those, the Visalia Rawhide faithful, and for those that were just tuning in for the first time, this is a byproduct of the flagship podcast, the Primetime Rundown. For all of this, the Eastern Observer, everything or every person that we've had on here always has a connection with the East Coast. And coincidentally enough, where you are right now, Jill, is out in LA, but you had some ties out here to the East Coast and in Boston. You went to Emerson College, and again, for the Emerson Lions faithful who are watching, thank you very much for taking a peek at the tweet. I am guilty. I did not tag you guys. I tagged everyone else. I tagged Jill about 90,000 times, but I didn't tag you. So I do apologize. So let's talk about your road to Emerson College. You went to high school where, and also how did broadcasting come up? Was this something that you had in mind all the way back in high school?
Yeah. So actually 8th grade. I had it in mind, and it started out with, I was a tomboy. Don't let the makeup fool you. Like, it's the first time I've worn makeup in 2 months or whatever. So, definitely a tomboy. And you're talking with the guys, you're naming off statistics or rattling off statistics, naming names, and they look at you and say, you know a lot about sports for a girl. And I go home and kind of complain to my mom about it. And she jokingly said, well, sports and you talk a lot. Why don't you go into sports broadcasting? And 13-year-old Jill took it and ran with it. I actually said at my 8th grade graduation speech that I was going to be the play-by-play broadcaster for the Boston Red Sox. And then fast forward to 2018, and I was in their booth as the booth statistician. So full circle there. But going to high school, I went to Bishop Montgomery High School in Torrance, California. It's a small Catholic school. I didn't do anything broadcasting related in high school. I focused a lot on softball. I had picked that sport as the one I was going to try to go to college for. And I am still very close with my high school friends, but I do wish that I hadn't spent as much time with them and maybe tried to focus more on broadcasting instead of softball. But it all worked out in the end. I went to Emerson, like you said, that is in Boston, a really small D3 school, liberal arts school, pretty well known for their journalism, film school, musical theater, marketing, all that fun stuff. So went there and majored in journalism.
And you brought up the fact that you were the Red Sox statistician, 93.7 WEEI FM, New England sports station. That is absolutely amazing because, I'll tell you this. Let me ask you this. Are you a Red Sox fan? Are you a Dodgers fan?
Oh, yeah. Go Sox, baby. Go Sox.
Oh, man. It's very difficult. I'm wearing a Yankees necklace right now. This is Sorry. Wow. All right. Listen, it's okay. It's all right. I
have a lot of friends from Boston who were from New York and everything. So we're friends. I'm friends with Yankee fans. It's okay.
All right. Good. That's a positive. So when you worked in the broadcast booth, and did you work with Jerry Remy, I believe is the name?
No, so it wasn't Jerry Remy because I was in the radio booth. Jerry is TV. So I was with Joe Castiglione and Tim Neverett. Jerry's still there with the Red Sox, and Tim's with the Dodgers.
Right. Yeah. He just recently got the job there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when you were there, now, was it like, well, first off, it was an internship, obviously, but were you the one trying to help out these broadcasters, trying to come up with other notes, like, trying to go through these media guides and trying to find some statistics that, like this random stat that you all know, I'm sure obviously you as the director of media relations and broadcasting in Visalia, you have to literally do it all. So I can't even imagine what these guys would have to do. But for you, you're going through these media guides and trying to find this tiny little stat that could be beneficial.
Yeah. So part of my process was for the Red Sox, I would be in the clubhouse, sometimes interviewing players, sometimes just being a part of scrum and getting audio from players that the radio station may or may not use. That was before and after the game. During the game, like you said, I was looking up random statistics. Normally, Tim would occasionally ask for a very specific stat. Joe did it a lot, and it was obscure stats. I don't even know. I wish I had an example to give you, but I remember going to Baseball Reference and I couldn't figure out where exactly to get the stat. There was a way I could have manipulated it, but I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. So I counted. I literally counted how many situations that had happened and then wrote it down and gave it to Joe. And he's like, "Good job, kid. You really know how to do it." And I was like, "I counted, Joe. I hope I didn't miscount." Like, it was one of those situations. But no, it was a lot of fun. And like you said, going through the media guides, what I actually ended up doing was, I would say, let's say JD Martinez has a 5-game hit streak. I would write on a card JD 6-game hit streak and have it pre-written on a note card or a Post-it note. And if he had a hit that game, I'd already have it written and just hand it to Joe or Tim. So I started to get pretty proactive with that. And it really did help me with my job in Visalia, because I kind of know what a media guide should look like. I know what statistics the major league broadcasters are using, so I can try to do that as well. So it helped me kind of get a little more feel for a broadcast.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and in addition to with you being a statistician intern or being a statistician for WEEI, it's really amazing because you look at it, and I'll tell you, for those that don't know, I'm a sports information director at St. Francis College, Brooklyn, here in New York. And exactly what Jill does, she just does it at a much higher level than what I do. But additionally, she also calls the games too, on top of, I'm going to venture to say, tweeting and doing some promos too, which I think we also I know we didn't exchange stuff, but I listened to a few of your clips, and amazing stuff, Jill, by the way. I know I told you obviously, but through email. But in addition to doing other things like that, like the other duties as assigned, if you will, how do you juggle all of that?
I don't know if I do it very well.
Quantity over quality, I guess, right?
I think that I definitely run around like a chicken with their head cut off before games. There's a lot of times where I'll forget my script because we'll have reads or something. And I mean, I can get it on my computer. It's just my computer's working so hard already by streaming the broadcast that I prefer to have paper in front of me. And it'll be 6:30 and I'll realize I don't have it. And you will see me sprinting down the stairs. And there isn't the booth. I have to go down the stairs of the stadium to get to the box. So I'm just like bobbing and weaving through fans, sprinting through the concourse, trying to get the paper printed in time and everything. So definitely running around with my head cut off a little bit. But I mean, I'm used to doing stuff with pressure. With playing softball, you have a million things going on in your head at a time before the play, and then all of a sudden you have to focus in on exactly what it is you need to do in that moment in time. So playing softball, I think, really did help me multitask a lot. And also with being a college athlete, I learned how to multitask with homework and practice and weightlifting and whatever other extracurricular things I was doing. So I credit softball a lot to it.
Yeah. So now, well, that was actually a perfect segue back into what we were talking about. So for those that watched The Last Dance on ESPN a few weeks ago, and for, I don't know, the last 7 weeks or whatnot, obviously for those, we go from 98 all the way back to 84. So now in this situation, we're going back from, I jumped ahead to Visalia. Now we're going to go back to Emerson. So I want to ask you this. So you were speaking about softball, and you played what position at softball?
First base mainly. I moved around a little bit, but by senior year, it was pretty much only first base.
So utility, and then you eventually got to becoming primary first baseman. That's pretty good. So you graduated 2018. Now you obviously said earlier that broadcasting was the way to go, and you played. So now I want to ask you this: during college and during your time with the journalism program, did you ever call games when you were not, in out of season, if you will, for maybe football or basketball?
Yeah, I did a little bit. Not a lot of play-by-play. I did one play-by-play game in my entire collegiate career, and it was actually a baseball game. I think I was a color commentator. Now that I think about it, I think I might have done color. I do not know basketball well enough to do play-by-play. I just don't have the feel for it. I feel so much more comfortable doing baseball, but being an athlete there, I knew the guys. I could give you color on some of them and what they were doing, things like that. So I felt very comfortable being a color commentator, a sideline reporter. So maybe 10 games total in my collegiate career, including color, play-by-play, and sideline. I focused a lot on softball. I do not
Wow.
recommend that to anyone who's trying to become a broadcaster. I am very fortunate to be where I am by focusing on D3 softball.
Yeah, because first off, a lot of people that go, and again, this is not a knock on Emerson, but Emerson's a fantastic school, but also in Division III, a lot of the resources are not 100% there, like like a full-fledged TV station or a radio station or something like that, and there's possibilities where you may have to intern with the athletic department and call a game, similar to what you're doing now. It's very different from the Division I level to the D3 level. And I mean, I can relate because I know when I was at St. John's in Queens, thankfully we had the resources where we would be able to, tap into certain things or get whatever. We wouldn't have to be running around and doing stats or, they ask us, oh, do you want to learn this? You want to learn this? We were just able to, solely focus on what we needed to do. So with softball being, again, the primary focus and you doing a total of 10 games combined between the aforementioned 3 roles, Jill Gearin, I need to ask you this question. So where now, why was softball not the route that you took? Why was the softball? Let me rephrase that. That was brutal. I'm sorry. 10:19 p.m. here. Why was softball not the route chosen by you?
Softball is still one of my main loves. Between that and baseball, it's a toss-up. Softball, I'm not good enough to play professionally. There's not that many professional softball leagues. And if you do play, you are essentially an Olympian, in my opinion. So I wasn't that good. I did coach a little bit after I graduated. I coached for 6 months at Emerson, and I was going to stay longer. I didn't, like you said, I didn't have that many games under my belt. I didn't really expect to be hired by someone, so I was going to stay at Emerson and coach. So that is still something that I love to do. I will do one-on-one lessons with some girls in Visalia, things like that. Like softball and playing sports is definitely a huge love for me, but I've just always wanted to do baseball broadcasting, and I love it. I love every part of it. I love talking about the strategy of the game. I love talking to the players and figuring out where their head is at. I want to know what the manager and pitching coach are thinking, what they're looking for in the game, because again, I do have a slight coaching background. I want to get inside their heads, and that's my favorite part. Yeah, I love calling home runs. Who doesn't love calling a home run or a strike 3 call? But it's the nitty gritty part of baseball that I fell in love with. I want to relay that to my listeners.
Yeah, and I could tell you, I remember when listening to your reel and hearing the final call for the California League Championship. That was fantastic, and you put a lot of you put a lot of heart and soul into that call. That's for sure, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they gave you a ring.
Oh yeah, I have it down in my bedroom. I can run real quick to get it if you want. Got a ring.
Hey, listen, hey, listen, if you want to show the viewers, absolutely, I definitely won't tell you no. But that is fantastic. That they were able to give you hardware. Because that is something that you can cherish forever. When you work your way up the ranks, I I could say this, you and Paul Goldschmidt are in the same exact, fantastic, along with many, many other current major leaguers. But continuing to move forward and back again to Boston. So your time in Boston, talk about college life. How was it? And, you moved back home. Did you have any thoughts of potentially trying to find something in the Red Sox organization, or I don't know, hey, maybe come down to enemy territory at Yankee Stadium?
For the record, I will go anywhere that people hire me. I do not care what team. Just gotta put that one out there. I'm not gonna say no to the Yankees if they want to offer me a radio gig. But
there you go. I think you can take over for John Sterling, please.
But I would love to work with Susan. Are you kidding me? But my time in Boston was so much fun. I left California for a reason. To be honest, said I was never going to come back home, and here I am living back home for the last 2.5 months. But I loved Boston. It was so much fun. I am so happy that I picked Emerson. It's a great school. I got a lot of great experience, great professors, and I mean, playing softball for the Emerson Lions was still some of the best 4 years of my life. My senior year was amazing. I'm so close with the girls on the team still. We Zoom every Friday night, and it's so amazing. Our senior year, we made the playoffs for the first time in our conference. So that was really big, and we had a rough freshman and sophomore year. We really worked hard senior year to kind of change the culture, and that's something that I'll always be proud of. So, I mean, I loved my time there. Like you said, how it's weird that I've only broadcasted a few games in college. It was because I was so dedicated to my time playing softball and with the girls and weightlifting and running when I had to. But it was just, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change what I did. I don't recommend it, but I wouldn't change it.
That's pretty good, especially making the trip cross country and spending 4 years of your life here on the East Coast. Really a life-changing move. You mature, you grow up, when you leave. So really, really good stuff. That's for sure. And to be back home now, how you got Visalia is probably the biggest question, because again, as I asked earlier, you had experience as the statistician for the Red Sox radio team. You were also a part of the New England College Baseball League, the summer league, I believe it is, Nashua Silver Kings, WSMN 1590 AM in New Hampshire. So you broadcasted a decent amount, and this was when in the timeline?
That would have been the summer after I graduated. So it was the same time I was interning for the Red Sox. I actually worked in 3 states that summer: New Hampshire with Nashua, and then the Red Sox in Boston. And I interned for the Pawtucket Red Sox in Rhode Island. So I was taking trains and buses back and forth a lot. My hub was in Boston. That's where my apartment was. Lucky enough to have friends in Rhode Island and an aunt in New Hampshire to crash on their couches if needed. But yeah, that was really the only place I had any tape from for my reel to get this Visalia job. And I got the Nashua job because of Tim Neverett. His brother, BJ Neverett, is the manager. And Tim said, "You need a reel if you want to get a job. I'll get you this broadcasting job." It was free. So it was basically, they gave me the platform to use, and I was able to make something out of it. I did a few mock games down in Pawtucket when Dr. Charles Steinberg allowed me to, and I got to do one game, a mock game in a Red Sox booth as well during one of my days off. So
wow!
I interviewed Jackie Bradley Jr. He was my interview I had in the at the end of my reel. So I mean, like having that kind of name is pretty helpful. But I think take away the college games, because that had that had color and sideline. If you take all the mock games and the Nashua games, maybe 30 games I did then. So I was just lucky enough to get some good tape. And when I say tape, I mean, I had a tape recorder that I recorded into. I wasn't using streaming services or anything, because I was, the radio station didn't save any of that. So I just had a tape recorder that I talked into, and I hoped that it sounded good enough.
Yeah, well, clearly it did because it got you back to your home state and got you a pretty decent job to say the least. But so that's really good. And just to now I have to ask you this because as a play-by-play guy myself, amidst the botched open that I did earlier for our interview, I swear I'm not that bad. But in all seriousness, in all seriousness though, to speak on a recorder, to do play-by-play on a recorder, and also to be able to go through your notes, to be able to go through your spotting board. How difficult is that? Let's say if you're holding this, right? And then you have to go through, the sheet or however it is for you, or however you build your spotting board. Was that difficult for you, especially because you did not have a lot of experience calling games? So you didn't have a lot of experience, with the, moving around, moving things around, throwing things around, and it's so quick too.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think it was difficult. But also you have to remember, I didn't have that many games under my belt. I didn't know what it was like to have a headset on. I thought this was normal. And again, like, didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of trying to figure it out as I did and frantically moving things. So I think I would have been frantic either way. But yeah, it's difficult for those of you listening who broadcast or something. You write in your scorebook what's going on. You flip through things, you have notes, you have stuff on your computer, and you're down to one hand doing it. So it is difficult. Thankfully, it wasn't for too long that I had to do that, but those kind of adversities that you go through early on in your career just make you so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I know exactly how that is. When you go to, I've gone to Knicks games before, and I've gone to the top of Madison Square Garden, and I've tried calling, just sitting at the top or sitting even in my seat watching a game as a spectator, and you have it in your head, and I remember I remember a long time ago, I would talk into my flip phone and I would just, try and record whatever. I think I still have it, but it's phenomenal how you can get a job just by doing that. And I know on some of our STAA meetups that we've had, I remember John Chalesnik has spoken about that because, it's quality over quantity. And really all you need is a phone nowadays, and anyone could do it. You don't need, you don't need the whole setup. And, I wish I learned that, because otherwise I'd save about $600, but whatever. But all joking aside now, you're back in California.
Yep.
Let's get to this finally. You're back in California. Your road back to road to Visalia was through Boston, Nashua, that whole New England region. Talk about your trip back to the West Coast.
So again, this is when people hear my full story of all the internships I've had, and by the way, I got the Tim Never internship because Tim graduated from Emerson. So it was very perfect. I got the internship because of Emerson. I got the Nashua thing because of Tim, and the job in Visalia I also got because of Emerson. Julian Rifkin, he's now one of our co-general managers. He happened to be a senior on the baseball team at Emerson when I was a freshman on the softball team. I found out that they had an opening in Visalia, and I texted Julian and said, do you think it'd be a good fit? He said, I don't know, but I can put your name into the GM at the time. I can give her your reel and everything. And we reached out. We did 2 phone interviews, and I accepted the job in middle of October, which was awesome that I got to tell Jessica Mendoza, Susan Waldman, Joe Castiglione, and Tim Neverett during the Red Sox ALCS and Yankees Red Sox ALCS. I was able to tell them that I got the job. So it was really cool.
That is crazy. That is really nuts. To be able to tell broadcasters of that caliber, names that, you get starstruck when you even say those names, and you're the one calling them, or letting them know that you have this gig. So again, even though you're in, congratulations on graduating and being able to get back to your home state, even though you were saying, there wasn't really a chance for you to, you didn't think you were ever going to go back home. And now you're there. It's crazy how things happen. And also through connections is really how the business works.
Mm-hmm.
So we said earlier, you're the first female California League broadcaster, 80-year history. Yeah, we've got that. Again, fantastic. But now I think I need to hear this, because as a sports information director myself, I've heard of a lot of the, other duties as assigned. And there have been times where, I've had to drop everything and call a game. And it's not easy, especially when you barely know these guys. Like, them on a personal level, and, they're your colleagues and whatnot. And, some of these students you pass by in the hallway, yada, yada, yada. But for you, you're doing literally everything. That is something incredible. Give us a little bit about a game day for Jill Gearin. So what is your game day like for you?
Okay, so usually I'm at the ballpark by 9 a.m. The first thing that I do is start printing out all the stat packs, which what is nice is that minor league baseball gives you access to all the stats you could possibly want. I just have to organize them in the way that I want it to and print them out a certain way and make about 20 copies. So I do all of that and try to get as many copies done as I can before everyone comes into the office, because they're going to be not happy if I'm taking over the printer while they're there. While those are printing, I usually start writing my game notes. That takes about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how focused I am and things like that. Again, I try to get all this stuff done as early as I possibly can, because I do want to be able to actually go on the field and talk to some of these guys. So usually it depended later on in the season, our day of game meeting, which is when every front office staff member comes in and we meet for about 30 minutes, talk about what's going to go on at that game. So usually between 11 and 1, that happens. I will grab a quick bite to eat for our media food that gets brought in. It's sponsored, thankfully, which is awesome. I'm fed all day long at the ballpark. So about 1 to 2, I have a little bit more downtime. I'll start going up to the press box, getting my computer set up to play music for BP for the guys. They made it very clear to me they didn't just want a radio station being played, so I quickly made some. Our intern Hannah Wright actually made some playlists for them, so that was really helpful. But I'm usually up there by 3 o'clock, the extreme latest. What I'm doing in between my game notes and stat packs is posting on social media if we have anything, reaching out to clients if I need to, just little things like that. Again, usually by 3, I'm in the press box and trying to be down on the field by 3:30 or 4 to talk to some of the players. Not even really formal interviews, but really just kind of talking to them, seeing how they're doing, trying to get a good story, any content really, especially by, game 70, you're running out of fun stories. I tried to go down to the cages, to the turtle, to the bullpen, because I was trying to pick up baseball pitches. The spin is very different from softball, so I was trying to learn those a little bit more. I got pretty close with our pitching coach, Shane Lukes. He let me hang out there a lot. At this point, I'd already given the stats and rosters to the home manager, visiting manager, anyone else who would have needed it. And if there's a last minute roster change, like there always is, I'm usually running around trying to hand those out to everyone. And sometimes the managers will already be out on the field, so I put it on their desk and then I go and tell them, just so you know, there was a roster change. It's on your desk. This is what it was, that kind of thing. 6 o'clock, I grab a bite of food, make sure my equipment's all set up and everything, have my book ready to go. And at 7:05 is usually first pitch, and I talk for 3 hours straight to myself, basically. To the listeners, obviously, we don't have a partner is what I'm saying. I just talk for 3 minutes straight. After the game, I do my post-game show really quick, 5 to 10 minutes. I'll go get the box scores from the official score, go to the home manager, see if they're happy. Sometimes they have arguments whether or not they think it was an error or a hit or not. And I'll say, okay, I'll go talk to the visiting manager, see what they saw. I'll let the home manager know what they say, and then go to the official scorekeeper and let them know that that they don't like a certain call, and he'll make the official call whether or not it's going to remain an error or be changed, that kind of thing. So that's a big part of it. And then after that, I write a post-game recap and post that online. And then I'm usually leaving the ballpark by midnight, the latest. That's my day.
Wow. So that is, let's see, if my math is right, that's 15 hours, roughly, give or take 15 hours. And now when you called the game, you said you don't have a color analyst. So do they at least give you a spotter possibly? Or so, okay. So hold on a second. So you're trying to figure out, number one, so let's say if there's a pinch hitter, if there's a pinch runner, if there's a defensive change, if there's something,
we're scrambling. What's nice about Visalia is the visiting booth is literally 6 feet to the right of me. So I'll kind of poke my head out and go like, who's this? And we'll figure it out from there. But I mean, I have binoculars that I also use as paperweights for all of my notes, and I'll use the binoculars that way to try to figure it out. We do have someone who runs, Julian's gonna yell at me. I can't remember if it's called Gamecast or Statcast, but they run that, like the thing where you see with MLB, where you see the little figurine of a batter, and then you see that.
Yeah. I think it's Statcast, I believe.
Statcast, yeah. So she runs that, and she'll help me with certain things. If I can't remember what number pitch this is, she'll kind of like hold up her hands and be like, "This is the 10th pitch of the at bat." So she's kind of like my booth statistician a little bit. She's also my best friend in Visalia. So Alexis is a huge help with that. But other than that, it's kind of a free-for-all. You figure it out between Alexis, the visiting broadcaster, and our PA guy, Brian. We all try to help each other out.
That is fantastic. You know, you look back, you look at it and you say to yourself, in single A ball, where this is, for those that do not know, Visalia Rawhide is the Class A Summer League ball affiliate for the Arizona Diamondbacks in the California League. So you deal with plenty of top prospects in the Diamondback system. So, you figure that you have a lot of these diehard baseball fans that are going to want, not only answers, but they also want, I don't want to call it quality broadcasting, but they want to know what you're talking about. And especially when you're doing, a zillion different things, Jill, does that ever cross your mind where, you're tweeting, you're also, this is actually the biggest question of all. So because you're the director of media relations, I know I have to do it for my women's basketball team. Do you have to play music for them too?
No. So just during BP,
okay,
I'll play the music, but our PA guy, he runs all the walk-up songs, in between inning stuff. So I don't have to, if I had to deal with that too, my head would explode. I don't think it's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as the, quality broadcast goes, that definitely runs through my mind. But I mean, the Rawhide has a very big following. We're entering our 74th anniversary in Visalia. And it's also the players' families, their wives, their girlfriends, their friends who are listening. And so they want to hear fun information, good information. And honestly, if I mess up, I tell them. I'm human. It was my first year. And I think you can tell I laugh a lot. So that happens on the broadcast. If I mess up or something funny happens, I laugh. I try to make sure that there's some personality to it. And I think it makes it more fun. I haven't had anyone say that they hated my broadcast yet. So we're going to keep going with it until they tell me. But, I want to get out, obviously, good information, important information. But they're also listening to one voice for over 3 hours. I want to make sure that they're able to laugh and enjoy it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Being real with the audience is key, and making sure, that you connect with the listeners, because that's humongous. I mean, like I said, if you weren't doing a good job out here in Brooklyn, I'm sure they'd be throwing stuff at you, in Coney Island. But, really, really good stuff. Thankfully, that doesn't happen with you out there, and your transition from college to Visalia or into the pros now is going great for you. Now, continuing with your director of media relations job, and this is the thing that really gets me, because with you doing everything, you have to put tweets out, you have to do whatever. Now, in between innings, what is it like for you?
Chaos. I'm trying to finish my scorebook because I'm guilty of this a lot. I'll forget to write down, especially when the innings get crazy, which is when you need to be writing down when plays happen. I'll try to make sure that gets finished. First thing I have to do is, close out the inning, say you're listening to Rawhide Baseball, and then press play on the ads. Make sure my microphone is muted. That's important. And then I start writing my notes or anything, getting anything ready. If there is a new pitcher, I'll get that ready, make sure that the visiting broadcaster, official scorekeeper knows what's happening, and the PA guy. Sometimes if there's a run scored, I'll tweet. I don't tweet every single inning because I just quite frankly can't do that. I'm not that good at it yet. But whenever a run scores, I'll try to tweet it in between innings. But I mean, what's 90 seconds 2 minutes and 30 seconds in between innings, I think is what it is. We don't have a clock out there, but I think it's 2 minutes 30 seconds in between innings. So
I believe so, yeah.
And then sometimes you have to go to the bathroom, and there's no bathroom in the booth. So I'm again sprinting through the stands to go to the bathroom if needed. So sometimes when I have to do that, I'll make it back in time. I've always made it back in time, but I'll be panting because I'm sprinting up these stairs and I'm not in shape like I was during college. So I'll welcome the audience back to the game and then mute my microphone and excuse the ugly noise, guys, but just sucking air. And it's fun. It's I'm complaining about it, but it's so much fun. I work at a baseball field. That's awesome.
That's and not only that too, you're 23 if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I'll be 24 July 3rd.
Be 24 on July 3rd. Okay, so you are a year and a year and 2 weeks younger than me. Okay, cool. So now again, really good stuff because you're running back and forth. Let's say if you had to have a restroom break or something like that, and that makes two of us in terms of not being in shape when we were both in college, and being able to do everything and to tweet 90 seconds, a few minutes later. Do you have to do Instagram too? And you have to do all of that?
So Instagram and Facebook, I do run, and Twitter, I do run normally, but during games, I don't have to do that. We, again, Hannah Wright, the intern, she did a lot of Instagram posts for stories and things like that, but I can usually schedule anything Facebook or Instagram on the actual feed. So I don't have to do that in live time or anything like that. So that's
okay. Thank goodness. I was going to say, because that's, again, that is, other duties as assigned is now getting a little out of control as our conversation is going on. That really is crazy. And, I'm learning a lot from you because now I can take this back to work also. And I'll have to, tell my boss and a few of our graduate assistants that we're doing it completely wrong. We have to do what you do. Amazing stuff. Now, I think to myself, as we're talking, you are the broadcaster, obviously. So let's talk about the road schedule. How does that work for you?
So I last year did not go on the road. It was a 70 games at home was part of it. And I knew that going in. Jennifer Reynolds, she was the GM at the time. And she said, you're going to be doing sales, marketing, other things. I prefer having everyone on my staff here. And, being a broadcaster, not exactly what you want to hear, but I also knew I didn't have a lot of games under my belt before, and 70 more is way better than no games. So I was very happy with it. On June, what's today? Oh, June 3rd. I just realized I forgot to post about it yesterday. On June 3rd, we clinched the first half champions for the California League. And so we made the playoffs on June 3rd, which is we were the first team in minor league baseball to do it. And I went to Jen and said, I really want to go. Like, is that okay? And she said, yeah, whenever we don't have to be in the office, you're free to do whatever you want. And I did that. I paid my own way. I drove to Stockton, California, stayed in the hotel, went and broadcasted the game, and we clinched the first half. And that was awesome. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed every single second of it. Being on the road is so much better than being at home. Not that I don't love Visalia and I don't love the home crowd and everything, but I don't have to be at the ballpark at 9 a.m. to do stuff. It's not as difficult. So I wanted to do that as much as possible. So after that, I probably went to every single road game, every single series for at least 2 games. Paying my own way. I'd either be crashing on some of the broadcasters' couches, their spare rooms, or paying my own way in the hotel, things like that. Because I just wanted to get as many reps as possible. I knew I was behind the ball on that from focusing on softball so much in college. So I just wanted to get better, and I knew it was going to help me.
Yeah, no, and you know what? And I find it admirable because, you were just saying earlier, just a couple of seconds ago, you were clicking in and out. But if I did get that right, you were paying for yourself to, you were paying out of your own pocket to go on the road. Yes. I find that really admirable because I remember when I was in college and I would go down to Washington, D.C., to Providence, to go with the men's basketball team when they would not put us on the bus. They'd only put us on for the women's games. And then we'd fly out to Cincinnati for baseball. And there were times when we just said, you know what, me and my 2 closest friends who were my co-sports directors at the time, we were able to, really team up and get it all done. But if the school was not willing to pay for it, we would just take, whatever we could, whether it be, we'd have to do some work study, or we'd have to do some things in the athletic department, whatever it was, just for a couple of bucks here and there, we'd be able to save that up and go to these places and be able to not arrive at the stadium or the arena, if you will, at 9 a.m. Or like how we would do at the Garden. We'd have to be at Madison Square Garden at, for a men's 6:30 tip off at 1-2 o'clock. Regardless of it being a student station, you have to, it's completely different experience from home and on the road. So with that being said, and you going to Stockton, were there any other places that you went to, or it was just there?
Yeah, I went everywhere except Lancaster. Okay. So San Jose, Modesto, Stockton, Rancho Cucamonga, Inland Empire, and I'm missing one. Storm, Lake Elsinore Storm. I've been everywhere else except Lancaster.
So with Lancaster being the exception, out of the aforementioned teams that you mentioned, what was the, I guess, best memory or favorite ballpark to be at, or favorite experience on the road, if you will?
Yeah, so the Lake Elsinore Storm, that's a beautiful ballpark. It's how high up you are, and the booth is 2 levels, like how you would have in a major league booth. So that's an amazing experience there. I loved Stockton. I think I just that was the first time I got to experience a champagne shower from them clinching a playoff spot. So that was really cool. Like, being a former athlete, that's something you dream about. So that was a lot of fun. I have the funniest road story I can tell you.
Let's hear it.
In Inland Empire, and Steve, who's the broadcaster, he makes fun. I still make fun of him for it, saying that their chair broke on me, that they need to get better chairs. So I was in the bullpen, just hanging out, watching some Pens before the game. And I sat in a chair and okay, like, you sit down in a chair. I was tired, didn't feel like standing anymore. And all of a sudden I collapse and I land in an L, like my feet and legs are straight out right there. And this is in front of the entire team. And no one's laughing. Myself and my intern, Hannah, she happened to come with me for that road trip. We're the only ones laughing. I'm trying to fix the chair saying, I didn't break it. It's okay. And then one of the players, Tyler Mark, said, Jill, just leave it. It's not like you didn't, but you just got to leave it. And I looked at them jokingly and said, am I fat? And you like, apparently that's the scariest thing a girl can ask a guy, because you just see fear on their face. And they're like, no. But yeah, it was fun. They gave me a lot of stuff after that. The pitching coach talked to me the next day and said, I just want to let you know that I think that was the most professional moment in my life, because I didn't laugh at you. I kept having my conversation with my pitcher. And turns out later that Brecken Williams, the pitcher that he was talking to, had been in the chair before me, and he felt it being wobbly. So of course I blame him for breaking it. And also came to find out that players were still talking about it a month later, because I was telling one of the newer players that came through about it. And he said, oh yeah, I'd heard about it. We were talking about funny stories and that one came up, and I'm like, what's going on? Why are we still talking about this? But yeah, that was a good road story.
That's wild. Now, you know what? It's actually a perfect story now, and you've done a fantastic job with segueing into the next question. You can read my mind. Great minds think alike. Now, with that being said, with, not only being the most professional moment in, focusing still on his pitcher and not, reacting to the said mishap, and what you were saying before, am I fat, guys, whatever. Now you coming over from softball, being with all women, and now working with all men, how is that transition for you to work with, or to how does it feel? Did you feel a little, I don't want to say awkward, but, like a little shy, a little bit here and there, because again, you're working with players who are potentially top 20 major league prospects, coaches, again, that are men. You're working in a not only predominantly male industry, but on a baseball team.
Right. Yeah. And I'm pretty easy to pick out on the field. Just look for the one girl who also is blonde. It's pretty easy. But I've hung out with guys my whole life. Some of my best friends have been guys. So it wasn't really a weird situation. You work with guys at internships and things like that. I'd interned at, with the Red Sox. It's a booth full of men for the most part. There are a lot of women broadcasters, or rather reporters, who cover the Red Sox. So I was lucky to still be around amazing role models. But, you get used to it. I think the biggest part for me was I was a little bit nervous about going into the clubhouse, because it was not for me because I had done it with the Red Sox, but in terms of I was going to be the first one in the California League. There isn't really any written rules of what you can and can't do in terms of timing, because I was used to there being a media time with the Red Sox, but now I'm not just media, I'm media relations. I'm the person that can kind of go in whenever they want, provided the manager is okay with it. But I also have to go in there at times to give the manager information, whether it's a roster change or anything like that. So I think for me, it was more so navigating the politics, for lack of a better word, of that. That was more difficult for me, figuring out I knew I belonged. I knew that. I knew that I had a right to be there. I was just kind of respecting everyone's spaces. But in terms of working with them, they were awesome. It was so much fun. In the beginning, I was a little bit quiet, not because I was shy, but I just kind of wanted to ease my way into a relationship with them, and kind of naturally started happening when they started making fun of me. So it works out pretty well. This is a side note. This is like so unprofessional. Should I turn on the light above me? There was sun when I started.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, you know what? Sure, why not? Yeah.
Okay. I just couldn't tell you.
Yeah, you're good. You are good. Don't worry. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, this could be.
Yeah, I noticed. I forget that the sun sets. Apparently,
it's all good. It's all good. I was gonna say we could put this on the Eastern Observer blooper section. So this is this is good. We forgot, ladies and gentlemen. Jill forgot light, but it's all good. No, it looks much better now. Good job. So. Now, continuing on in the middle part of, or let's say the latter stages of this of our interview here, or our conversation, if you will, you've gotten to this point, and you have gotten to love certain people because of it, such as the statisticians. You've gotten to have a relationship with a lot of these folks. Every single person is a human being in terms of, whatever they do, play-by-play, color, whoever you've made connections with, baseball inspiration, or even, someone in your family. Who do you have to look up to, who to thank for where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, cliche, first and foremost, my parents. My mom told me to be a broadcaster, and I did, and they paid for me to go to school. I'm beyond grateful to them. And, being a broadcaster, you don't make a lot of money. For my birthday present last year, they paid for a full road trip for me to go on. Things like that, just always been very supportive emotionally, financially, any way that they can be. I have to, there's so many people, Jennifer Reynolds for giving me my first break in a professional setting as a professional broadcaster. Tim Neverett, obviously, with the Red Sox. And I actually have a neighbor, Stacy Sagan, who I want to thank because she got me my first internship that was not even sports related. It was in Atlanta for Lauren Lake's paternity court. And it's really difficult to get an internship. They want people with experience, but of course, how do you get experience if you can't get this internship, that kind of thing. And she took a chance on me and gave me an internship, and that opened up so many doors for me. And, there's so many people that I'm forgetting. Everyone at the Rawhide, and it's weird to say this, but the coaching staff for the 2019 Rawhide and the entire, all the players, they were amazing to me. It's very intimidating being a 22-year-old woman walking into something that no other woman has done before. And they took me under their wing. They treated me like family, and they made sure I felt like I was a part of the team, and I will forever be grateful to them. Plus, they got me,
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, you have the ring as well to thank them for, because again, no, in all seriousness, it can go either way. It just is. It stinks, but I'm really glad that it went the positive way for you, for sure. So, again, right now we're in the midst of a pandemic. We're in the midst of other things going on in the country. Major League Baseball, we don't know if they're coming back. We won't elaborate on it, but what I do want to ask you is like a rapid fire type question. Do we see you in the Visalia Rawhide booth this upcoming summer? Yes or no, Jill?
I hope so. I
like that answer. I like that.
It's gonna be a little bit longer answer for you now, but I'm not the owner, I'm not the GM. I don't know if there's any other conversations going on, but I do know that we're working with the California League. We're working with minor league baseball, local health officials, national health officials to bring baseball back as safely and quickly as possible. I'm giving you a little bit of a PR answer, but I'm
used to those. Yeah.
But it's not a PR answer. It's legitimately what's happening.
The truth.
You look at how minor league baseball is, for the most part, always operated. They follow Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball hasn't figured it out yet. So minor league baseball isn't going to make a decision. It's usually how it is.
Right.
So trust me, I would be giving anything to be sweating in 100-degree weather in my booth right now. I would give anything.
Wow. That's pretty good. That really is, again, something admirable, because I know there's a lot of people, out here where, we'd kill for 100 degrees right now and to be in a booth. And, out here, or actually up north in the Cape Cod League, the NECBL, where you're an alum, and also out here in the Hamptons, everything is canceled. So, there's a lot of disappointment, if you will. So hopefully we get to see you call some games, or hear you call some games this upcoming summer. So I do have to ask this, and again, going off topic is, if you haven't noticed, that is just who I am, which really is a shame.
Perfect. But I'm all over.
Yeah.
Like I said,
around. What is the size of your broadcast booth? I just need to know, because I ask a lot of play-by-play people this.
It's really small. If we have to social distance in the booth this season or next season, I don't know how we're gonna do it. Like we have 3 people in the booth usually, and I don't know the exact dimensions, but like I can like give you a pan of my living room. This size, it's not as long as that. It's smaller than that.
Wow.
And then in terms of how much room I have to write on things, my computer takes up a lot of space, and my scorecard is in my lap as I write. So small, it's cozy, it's homey, but we're really close to the field. I mean, I can, if the crowd's quiet, I can hear everything the players are saying. So I do love my booth. I do love my booth. It's hot, it's dusty, it's old, it's an old ballpark, but I also worked at Fenway Park. Apparently I have a thing for old ballparks. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you worked, if you worked at Fenway, one of the oldest parks, in Major League Baseball, and in all of the 4 major sports in America, you can work anywhere, and especially where you are now, and again, I guess maybe because, I've been spoiled with, Madison Square Garden or Yankee Stadium or whatnot, I guess I don't have the appreciation of the old style park that you do, which again is fantastic, because now when you move up, which we all know you're going to, you're so young and you're starting at a pretty high level, the booths are going to get bigger, thankfully, which is good. And hopefully you'll be able to get a spotter and someone who can tell you, what pitch is coming, or and that's another thing. And that's another question I want to ask you too, is that when you see, like, how well, first off, obviously I'm going to say you don't wear glasses.
I'm wearing contacts for the first time in like 2 months. So wearing contacts.
Okay. All right. So you're wearing contacts now. For you to see it, like, how far, like, is it a good sight line directly to the mound?
Yeah, it's really good mound, plate, and everything. There's a little bit down the right field line. There is not a lot of foul territory, so it's hard for me to see probably the final like half down the line of the outfield in right field, and then I can't see. Yeah. There's a banner in front of our bullpen, so I can't see who's warming up. I can see that a catcher is catching a ball, but I can't see who's warming up usually. Other than that, the view's really good. But in terms of pitches, it's really just, in softball, it's so different for the most part. If it spins onto the inside, it's a screwball, outside curve, high rise, low drop. And then there's some kind of variations, knuckle, fastball out, fastball in, or a changeup. But in baseball, it moves the same way to me. It just looks much different. And then there's major league broadcasters that are saying that was a cutter. I'm like, you have to be lying. There's no way you know that.
Right.
I mean, maybe Dennis Eckersley does, but Like, I don't know.
Right. Well, I mean, unless you're Michael Kay out here for the New York Yankees and covering Mariano Rivera, and that's the only pitch that's coming
Yeah.
from him. So, right,
Yeah.
but it's different for everybody. So as we get into the to the eighth inning of our conversation here, if you will, I have to ask you this, Jill, because again, I keep saying this. I really should stop it. We're looking for a positive conversation, but amidst the pandemic here, there have been, people having trouble trying to adjust to this, being told they can't go out. Where you are, obviously, is sunny all the time. Raining is really, or rain and Los Angeles and Hermosa Beach is not really, in the same sentence ever. Unless I'm out there and then it rains for a full week and then things get stopped, which is another story for another time. But that's whatever. I guess I'm just a bad luck charm. But you have rain, you have snow, whatever it may be. What is your advice to, let's say, any aspiring ball player, softball player, play-by-play announcer, female, male, whatever it may be, who may be mentally down because they're being told to stay inside. They don't have the luxury of going outside and potentially doing what they want to do, love to do, etc.
Yeah, it's tough. I've had really tough days mentally as well. And I think the first thing is it's okay. Like, if you are peppy throughout all of this, props to you. Let me know like what medication you're on so I can take it. That's amazing. It's like, but I think the first thing is it's okay to not be happy all the time. It's okay to be really down and not be able to get out of bed that day, or you just get your work done, you don't go work out. It's okay. I think the first thing is realizing, first thing is admitting it, that you aren't okay, and find someone that you can talk to. If you need to reach out to me, really easy, Jill Gearin, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. Please, people just need to be happy. It's okay. It might not get better right away or exactly go back to normal like we want to right away, but it's going to get better. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but just know that it's okay to not be okay. And that not even during this, that's in life. I've had so many laughs during the 2019 season, but I also had so many breakdowns. I didn't know what I was doing half the time. It's okay. It's going to work out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because again, it's wild. I actually saw a picture today. 2020, we're only halfway done, and we want obviously the second half of 2020 to be good. But believe it or not, it feels like 2020 has been about 10 years long. With the way everything's been going, it's absolutely crazy. So with that being said, we have to ask you this, even though you've been stuck in 100-degree weather for however long, Jill, because you're in California and there is no such thing as winter where you are. But out here on the East Coast, it is slowly becoming, it was like 85 degrees today, which is fantastic, and a great pool day nonetheless. But the first 18 episodes, including this one, we have asked every single person, because summer is right around the corner and we need something to look forward to, what their favorite ice cream flavor is. So let's do this here. So for those that do not know, or this is their first time watching, former NFL wide receiver Cecil Shorts III, back on episode number 11, said cookie dough and strawberry was his. Current San Jose Shark color analyst, NBC Sports California, and NBCSN color analyst Brett Hedican said Americone from Ben & Jerry's. Current prospect for the Kansas City Royals, Alex Katz, vanilla with rainbow sprinkles, as well as, let's see, where else? And I think, Fairleigh Dickinson University right fielder, Ross Mertz says vanilla. So there is a whole ton of flavors that we've got here. Jill, let's add your name to the list and your favorite flavor.
I like cake batter or like
Oh,
birthday
wow.
cake.
That is number 2. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jill. That is number 2. I have never heard of cake batter before 2 days ago. And
Really?
you just said that. Yeah, I didn't think that was something. And
Do you not go to Cold Stone?
well, I'll tell you one thing. I think the last time that I saw a Cold Stone around here was when I was 7 years old, because they closed all of them down.
Wow.
Around
There was
here.
one in Boston, I remember. There was one in Boston. There's quite a few here. Like
yeah, right. I know. Yeah, out on the West Coast, there's that.
Yeah.
And then I know, obviously, with Carvel being out here, there is cake batter too. So Google says. And yeah, that's pretty good. And USL League 2 FA Euro New York Executive Director Marco Balsamo, cake batter. That's pretty good for United Soccer League. That's unbelievable. So cake batter 2 and chocolate 0. That's pretty good. So to answer your question, I have not been to Cold Stone since I was a kid. That's pretty good stuff.
Highly recommended. Cold Stone wants to sponsor my broadcast, you let me know.
There you go. So last question, because I really do appreciate you being here with us for over an hour, Jill. I'm sure you have better things to do on this Thursday night. It's only 13 minutes after 8 p.m. Where you are, thankfully. We're coming up on almost a quarter after 11 over here. But I need to ask you this, because everyone watched it at the time. Did you watch The Last Dance?
I did. My dad and I watched it together every Sunday. We missed one Sunday. I don't remember why, but we recorded it and watched it together. And it was cool because, I wasn't alive then. I was born in 96. So it was really cool to see that. And my dad actually played basketball in college. And it's really cool to be able to ask him questions about basketball, because I know the sport enough, but not enough to do play-by-play or anything or play it. So I asked him questions and kind of see what MJ was all about. And like you said, how it moved around, I could not keep track. It was not okay for me. I feel bad.
Well, then I feel bad for all the viewers watching this interview. I do apologize.
But I just specifically remember Larry Bird was the coach of one team in the playoffs that MJ and the Bulls were facing. But just 10 minutes prior, they showed Larry and Michael playing together in the Olympics. And I was like, but Larry was still playing. Did he just play in the Olympics and just coach? My dad said, no, that was whatever year. I'm like, oh, I'm done. I give up. This is a lot of fun, but I give up trying to put all the pieces together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because it went from, it was supposed to be obviously about The Last Dance, about the, the 97-98 season. And then we go all the way back to when MJ was at UNC. So, it's obviously you weren't not going to have, the whole story of who Michael Jordan is and how he got to where he got to. It's just, it doesn't happen. So any other things that you've been catching up on in your downtime, house projects, quality family time, picking up other hobbies, or in addition to your Friday night Zoom sessions with your friends?
Friday night Zoom sessions. Thursdays, I'm actually gonna have to be, it's fine. I can be late to it. It's not a big deal. 8 p.m.
Oh boy.
It's okay. 8 p.m. on the West Coast, we have our Cal League colleagues Zoom meeting. So it's all the California League, like broadcasters. We just, talk, have a beer, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun. It's okay. It's okay that I'm late. It doesn't matter. People hop in and out all the time. Joe Rizzo with the Giants, he just had a baby, so he usually hops on at like 11 p.m. So it's fine. But I've been spending my Thursday nights doing that. Trying to learn Spanish because there's a lot of Latin guys who play baseball, so trying to do that. Just started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender again on Netflix, which was huge. That I loved watching that growing up. It's a lot of fun. But no, spending a lot of quality time. I mean, I moved across the country when I was 18, came back and worked in baseball, and didn't really get to see my parents as much as I'd like to. So it's really nice seeing them, seeing my high school friends, because we all live in the same state for the first time again since high school. So seeing them social distancing, but being able to still go over to my friend's backyard, which is pretty big, and a pool and everything. So doing that and trying to get back in shape or something, but just trying to pass the time.
There you go. Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. I do want to ask you this, because as I'm listening to you, I have to ask you this, because I am also. Are you an only child?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Pretty good. Me too. That's excellent. Good. So only child club right here. That's pretty good. So Jill, all joking aside, I really do appreciate your time. Again, 17 minutes past, past the top of the hour, and also 17 minutes past Jill's time to relax. So I really do appreciate that. And, thank you so much for coming aboard here on the Primetime Rundown Zoom interview series. And I'm sure we'll be talking for sure, especially we are fellow STAA members together. And so I'm sure I'll be talking to you and seeing you around for sure.
Definitely. I'm actually going to be doing one of their Instagram lives. I think it's on the 13th for STAA. So it'll be fun. Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Making it big time.
I'm the one asking questions during all their other Instagram lives. I'm not sure why they're asking me, but it'll be a lot of fun. And, I'm enjoying the downtime. But thank you so much for having me on, Joey. If anyone who's listening wants to reach out to me for anything, again, it's just Jill Gearin on Instagram, Twitter, and everything. Feel free to reach out. So.
Absolutely. And we will make sure to repost this whole conversation / interview. I consider a conversation. This is tons of fun. Not really a, straight shot interview. I don't really like to do that on here, but we'll have all of Jill's information that she made public on our Instagram page, on our Twitter page, on our Facebook page as well. But before Jill, before you go, just want to say a couple of words. Episode number 20 of the Primetime Rundown Zoom interview series comes to you next Monday, when we welcome San Jose Sharks radio voice from KFOX 98.5, Dan Rusanowski, at 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Follow us on social media at the Eastern Observer, on Instagram at Observe Eastern, on Twitter, and at Eastern Observer on Facebook. Also, tomorrow night, episode number 27 of our flagship podcast, the Primetime Rundown, will return tomorrow. I will not be there. Tyler Riddell, my co-host, and his friend Mark Stanford will be taking over for the next few weeks, starting tomorrow, 6:30, right here on the Eastern Observer. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, that's Jill Gearin. I'm Joey Jarzynka. For all of us at the Eastern Observer and the Blackjack Media Networks, we'll see you next time. Hold on one second, Jill. All right. Good stuff. Thank you so much. And